So I'm back with the second part of the event video, and we are going to be looking at World B. Obviously it does translate to World B, it's just that everything's of a higher level. Interestingly, what doesn't translate is the drops, because the drops are different. Wasp drops on World D1 and D2, that's D for Delta, but only drops on B2, and that's B for Beta. West Virginia drops on B1, and that's B for Beta, and D1, D2, and D3, and that's D for Delta. So the hard mode does have more of these drops, so keep that in mind. So, in with World B1. The thing to note here is that the enemy level is of a level 46, the boss level is 48, and you need to defeat 4 fleets before the boss will actually spawn. Now, you do have 5 normal fleets that can spawn and 2 chasers. To get the 3-star requirement, you need to defeat, firstly, all 5 fleets and the 2 chasers before beating the boss. That's your first star. You need to S-rank the boss for your second star, and for your third star, in this case, you need to defeat 30 of the normal nodes. So let's start with the battles and start with the music. Here we are with the boss battle. Now, the boss here does have a rather interesting attack mechanic. Unfortunately, you don't see it in the first video. In the second clip, you start to see it charging up. However, I did manage to catch it activating on the B3 battle when you've got the 2 little bosses together. Now, what happens here is that the boss has a little icon appear next to it, and it's basically the boss icon that you see on the map that appears next to the boss sprite, and a bar will appear underneath the boss health bar. And if that is allowed to charge up and you don't interrupt it, it will shield itself and produce a bullet hell mechanic from itself, as well as torpedoes that will spawn randomly along the map. The way to stop that from happening is to hit the boss hard and fast. So you either use your battleship attack or a torpedo attack to interrupt the charging effect and knock that little charging bar straight down to 0, and that will stop it from launching its attack. It's also worth noting that when it's shielded, it is actually immune to all damage at that point, so you do want to stop this from triggering, as well as it just being a really nasty bullet out. Now, the notable drops on this map are West Virginia, Arizona, Queen Elizabeth, and Lexington. You also get some nice equipment drops starting from this map onwards. You get 30 of the tokens for each of the boss kills, and you need to defeat the boss 4 times to move on to the next map. I did go and 3-star the map, so you can see the rewards that you can get. Again, it's the construction cube as normal, as well as some coins, and the 3-star reward this time is just some oil, so very exciting. Okay, and on we go with B2. The thing to note here is that the 3-star requirement is for, again, 30 ships, but it's a little bit easier because you actually have 7 nodes in the map. This also then includes the 2 Siren Chasers, so that then takes it up to 9, and the boss, so it's 10 in total. The level of the normal fleets is level 50. You only need to do 5 battles before the boss will spawn, and the boss is going to be level 55. We do actually see a new Siren Chaser in this map, and I will actually show that battle when it happens. It's actually quite easy to dodge the chasers on this map, so once you've got your initial 1-star requirement and you've wiped the map clear, you can just avoid the chasers from that point onwards if you're wanting to. Now, if you're getting the 1-star requirement, you could use your boss fleet to take on the Siren Chasers, or you could use your clearing fleet and then take on the 3 triangle mobs whilst you've still got some ammo. And as long as you've got healers in your clearing fleet, then it shouldn't be much of an issue to take out the rest, even though you've got no ammo. So yet again, let's start the battle and start up the music. So here's the new Chaser. Now, the thing to note here is that you don't have the cross attack, so you're just dealing with the bullet hell coming straight from the Chaser itself. It's not much of a worry, it goes down easily enough, so there's just nothing to note here. Now, once again, the boss does have that charging attack, so once you start seeing it charge, make sure you've got a torpedo spare so you can knock it out. And the other thing to note here is that the boss is a carrier type, so it will be launching planes at you, and there is a new type of plane that it will launch, and these planes will hover above your fleet. At this point, they are more of a nuisance than anything else, but I can imagine in hard mode they are a bit of a more of a threat. So that means anti-aircraft ships are going to be more useful, as well as making sure that you've got really good anti-aircraft guns. So that means Bofors or pom-poms for your front line. Once again, you're looking to defeat the boss 4 times before you can move on to the next map, and you will get 40 tokens for each time you defeat the boss. Now, the notable drops in this one is Lexington and Saratoga, and as said previously, on the B2 version you do get Wasp. Honestly, at this point there's not much more I can say, so I'll just reiterate the notable drops that you can get on maps A1, A2 and A3. Now on A1 you can get Charles Osborne and Glowworm. On A2 you can get Cleveland and Helena. And on A3 you can get Indianapolis, Houston and Wasp. Now, I did cover some of these in my first video, but I was unaware of the rest of them, so I just thought I'd insert them now. The other thing to cover is that the token exchange, I did speculate that it was considered that once you got it down to 0 that you could move on to the next stage. It has been confirmed by some people that that is the case. The other way to move on is that if you can get both of the 2 items, that you can then progress on to the next stage, and from that point you can get North Carolina and then move on to the stage after that. As for the rewards this time, once again it's a construction cube and coins, and the 3-star reward is the gold bullion, so not too bad. We're finally on to B3. You're going to have to destroy 35 normal nodes so you can get the 3-star requirement this time around, but there are 7 nodes that spawn on the map, and they are going to be between the range of level 55 to 57. There are also 3 siren chasers. You start off with 2, the third spawns, and the boss itself will spawn after 5 battles, and the boss is going to be level 60. Altogether, including the boss, that's going to be 11 battles. So, let's get on with it. So in we go with the new Siren battle. I'm showing this off because the siren itself has a fair bit of health and is quite sturdy. The other thing to note is that it does do quite a strong attack mixed in with the normal attacks, and if you get hit with that it is going to hurt and damage your fleet a fair bit. So just watch out for that and be careful and be aware of the attacks that it does. Basically, after you've cleared the map, just try and dodge this particular chaser. So now we're on to the final boss fight, and as I pretty much said earlier, it's the first two bosses together as one boss. So you just have to watch out for the mechanics of the shields and knock them down, watch out for the annoying planes, and just basically keep on your toes. Also, as I said earlier, in this battle you actually get to see what happens when the boss is able to charge the attacks and trigger its special attack with the shields and the bullet hell. That does happen towards the end of the battle, so keep an eye out for that one happening. Now, the thing to note with this is that for this map we do have the drops of Yorktown and Hornet, and on the boss you can get North Carolina. North Carolina as well you can get from the token store, so it's not really much worth worrying about getting her from the drops on the map. So if you can't get her from the map, don't worry too much, you can get her from the token store. You're also going to get 50 of the tokens, or the medals rather, that you can get for the reward currency, so that's pretty much on par with C1, the hard mode of A1, and you need to defeat the boss 4 times so you can complete the map. So we're now at the penultimate cutscene. It is a bit of a longer cutscene this time round, and it almost reveals the new carrier. I say reveals, it takes her out of the shadow so you get to see her design in full colour. And apparently the other ships call her Enterprise, or Prairie Enterprise, and then she apparently then says, "I'm not Enterprise." So still it's pretty much up to debate as to who she is, but again I'm still waiting for proper translations on this so that I can actually find out what's being said. So yeah. Anyway, after the cutscene is over, I will show the final clear and the final cutscene as well as the rewards. Although, as you can probably guess, the rewards are the construction cubes and coins, and the 3-star clear reward this time is actually West Virginia. So that actually negates the requirement to actually farm for her on the other maps. Just like North Carolina doesn't really need you to farm for her on this map, because you can always get her from the store. So the only ship that you actually need to actually worry about farming for is Wasp. So just get tokens and just keep farming for tokens and keep farming on maps A3, B2, C3, D1 and D2. It should be noted we don't actually have block rates tied to any of these maps, so as to which is the most efficient map to find her on, it's debatable. So it's probably going to be easier just to keep farming A3 for her, just because it's the easiest map. It's not the most rewarding map because you're only going to get 20 tokens, but you can use a cheap enough fleet so that you can just keep on grinding away, and it'll save you quite a bit of oil in the long run. It's probably like if you're wanting to get a decent amount of tokens, most people are saying grind C1 because you get 50 tokens and you can use a relatively light fleet without any worries. One of the main reasons why C1 is generally considered the best place to farm is because although it's only going to give you 50 tokens, you can just go with a really light cost fleet. You can get a fleet of around 25 oil just to farm it. So 25 oil per node, 4 nodes, and then you've got the boss. That's quite good. But if you look at, say, D1, you're going to be using a fleet that's a bit heavier, and the likelihood is you're going to be doubling the cost of oil with the fleet, and you need to then defeat 5 of the battles just to actually spawn the boss. So it pretty much then cancels out any of the benefits. Because although it gives you an extra 120 tokens, if you're doubling the oil cost and you're having to face an extra node as well, suddenly it becomes a bit more inefficient. Now, you could in theory farm D2, but you then have to fight 6 fleets before the boss appears, and you're getting 150 tokens for doing that. Now, consider it's a much harder map, and therefore most people aren't going to be willing to farm it. The costs and gains do start to come into play here. So most people will probably stick to just farming C1. So here are the rewards as I talked about before, and as said before, 2 construction cubes and coins. And the 3-star clearing reward is West Virginia. And she looks alright, but her head's a little bit derpy, or rather the angle of her head is a little bit derpy. So yeah, make of that what you will. So that's the end of the video. I've covered pretty much everything from the second part of the new event. Hopefully you found it informative and helpful. And anyway, that's it for now.